Hello and welcome to the Miraculous Being series. I'm your host and self-awareness coach Shweta Shivraman, and this is a show where we discover, learn, and implement lessons from others' life journeys, others who I believe epitomize the spirit of miraculous, who live life to the fullest, who worked hard on themselves to reach where they are today, and who are passionate in what they do. Our speaker today is Sanjay Mudnaney. Sanjay is a coffee lover, cyclist, and a storyteller. For over 35 years, he has been telling stories as a CMO, head of corporate communications, marketing strategist, and storyteller for organizations, small businesses, nonprofits, and startups. He started his entrepreneurial journey at the age of 50. He co founded an early startup in the digital payment space, a storytelling company, and a boutique full service digital communications agency over the past 8 years. Currently, he's building the first of its kind experiential storytelling and coaching company, Crowtail's Story Room. He has trained over 500 nonprofits in the art of storytelling for fundraising and made 10 short films which are released on YouTube that tell stories of real heroes. I am super excited to have him on the show, so let's get started. Hi, Sanjay. Thank you so much for taking time to be on the show. Welcome to the Miraculous Beings podcast.
Great to be here, and it's lovely to, speak to your audience and also the kind of amazing work that you're doing. The name itself is, I think, miraculous, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So great. Love to be on your show out here and to share my story and my journey.
Right. And I think maybe we can start with that. I know I've heard bits of your story and I've been awe inspired, but maybe you could catch up our listeners and just share your journey so far.
Yeah. So thank you. And, let me take you. The journey starts actually, right from the time I was a child, actually. I mean, it goes back to that time where my father was the biggest influence on me in terms of he made me start to love books and stories. So he would get a lot of books. So my house, if I remember, was all about books and huge amount of books all over the house. And we had a very large book cupboard. And he would get me a lot of books, a lot of story books, a lot of history books, a lot of encyclopedias. And this made me to get lost in the world of fantasy and stories. And, I would actually time travel to places as a child, and especially history. I would actually time travel history. And I became the topper in the board exams out here in history, because history is all about his story. But I would get into that places, I would actually analyze the things, and I saw this history would keep on repeating itself. So history is not just what is happening in that person, but actually it was kind of, I found a trace of repeating itself again and again. And even now, if I look at the world, they say history repeats itself, right? It's again all over the world. We're seeing history is repeating itself in various stories because human stories are almost, they're always almost kind of common. There's some common thread that runs through it. So that's the time when I actually got fascinated by stories and storytelling. And then in school, I started participating in elocutions, and one of the elocutions I remember, I was just called and said I was there in the auditorium sitting with the Hindi teacher in the class, and the Hindi teacher said that we're going to have an elocution competition. So let's start, and that's how I got into elocution. That I happened to win that elocution contest, and my love for communication started. So stories was one part of my story, of my journey, early journey. Communications became the other part of my journey, where I would stand up and speak to audiences. And I used to love that. I would get lost in a kind of a zone. The moment there was an audience, most people get scared when they see, and as a child, when you see 500 other students in front of you, mostly you would get scared. And I did in the initial days at times, but then I started loving to stand up and speak. And that's where my love for communication started. And that's how my career happened in sales, in marketing, and almost when I put in 20 plus years in marketing, 30 years, I think so, in the corporate world. I worked on brands, I worked on the agency side, I worked on organization side. Having done all that, I arrived at something somewhere, and something happened during the time when I turned 50. And that, I think so, was a kind of a turning point of my life, or turning point of my career. And what the turning point was, I'll tell you, I was in a comfortable job. I had a good pay scale. I was respected in the organization. So everything was going right for me, absolutely. But I felt absolutely uncomfortable because I felt I was in some kind of an absolute comfort zone. I knew the place so well. I knew my job so well. I knew this is what I need to do. This is my corner cabin. I have this cabin out here. I go here every day. So it was that kind of a kind of a comfort zone. But having all that, I started feeling that, I was absolutely uncomfortable inside. Um, every year had looked the same. So, there's a story that we tell ourselves that once you reach here, you are done. I mean, you get this when you're in school or in college, that when you pass your school and you score good grades, yeah, you'll get into the best college. And when you're in the college, you score the top and then you get into a good job, or you start your own business or whatever you're doing. And when you're in the corporate world, for example, you have this again, those what is called as the bell curve. And that bell curve is you either top or you are average, or you're absolutely thrown out from the place. And this continues every year. We have everybody struggling for the same promotions. Every year you go through your KRA sheets, you go through your the normal routine of life. And then there's another race that starts, which says you need to buy stuff to show people that you have reached and arrived. And success is defined, right? How much money you have in the bank is one definition of success. The other definition of the success would be that what is the kind of power that you hold, what is the kind of fame that you hold, what's the kind of position that you hold, the designation that you have. So every year you are just running after it. But at the end of it, it's like running on a treadmill, but the treadmill doesn't go anywhere, right? You're running, you think you're going somewhere, but it is at the same place. So I am at 50, I felt, I've kept on running, but I've not gone anywhere. It's just the same place. It's again the next, part of the treadmill. That's the time when I actually questioned myself hard. And I said, there's something that's not right. And the story that we have told ourselves that this is what it is, and that's also called the rat race, where you're stuck into it, continue that kind of lifestyle. And he said, you retire and then be happy. That's what people used to tell me, 10 years to go to retirement, just wait for 10 more years and then you can live your life. So by that time, do I know that, I'll be in a position or the health to be able to live? Nobody knows when is the time to go, right? So he said, if I don't do something now, I will never do it. And that's the time when I jumped from the corporate world. Everybody said, you're crazy. The recruiter friend said, you will not find a job. You're crazy. After 50, people don't find jobs and you're getting out at this time. The market is bad. Somebody's told me that, it's not good. It's not easy. Then one of my persons who's been my mentor, the bosses for a long time, he said, you're a corporate guy. I don't think so. This business and all this stuff, being an entrepreneur is meant for you. So don't do it. But I said, no, I want to, experience what it means to be on the other side. And I don't want to die with my song in my heart. I don't want to die with all my dreams inside me. And so that's the time I actually jumped very crazily, not listening to anybody. Yeah, and the paycheck stopped. And that's the biggest fear that you have, that, your paycheck is going to stop. Money is going to stop from next month. It actually stopped, because you're used to a paycheck coming inside. And then you suddenly, that stops. And that's the biggest fear. The second fear that hits you is, where do you go in the morning? Because you're used to going to a place. That's your identity. It's almost what you have built for yourself. And now when I look back, it's 8 years since the time I actually moved. I co-founded a startup. I done 3 different businesses. I have written and published 2 books. I started cycling. I cycled places, journeys. I became a cyclist. I traveled places. I met some amazing people. I have made 10 short films, documentary films during the lockdown, when it was a deep lockdown. And now also, if I really look at it, the place that I'm sitting in is called the Story Room. And this is where I do a lot of experiential storytelling, and I get people and work on stories with them. So I'm actually living a dream life. I'm living an amazing life. From waiting for paychecks, now I pay checks. So that's the shift that has happened, and they're waiting for retirement. Now that word retirement doesn't exist in my dictionary. I don't have a word kind of retire. Um, and I have found that life happens on the other side of fear. That fear is something that tells us that don't move. What will happen? The future looks uncertain, but I actually figured out that finally we all die, right? So what's more uncertain than the fact that you're going to die? But why not to live every moment that you're alive? I think I just figured out that very simple. It's basics. I think it's absolute common sense. We know it inside of us. Look at a child. The child knows it. I was a child. When I was a child, I knew it, that what is freedom, what does expression mean, expressing myself. I would do what I love to do, right? I don't seek approvals from anyone as a child. I mean, that's a natural. And then here you have something which comes as, you cannot do this because you are so and so. This is not supposed to be done. You cannot do this. You cannot do that. And then you start, diminishing and diminishing, and you become a part of what yourself, and you stop dreaming. And the day you stop dreaming, you die. That's what I tell people, that don't stop dreaming, because that's your only sign that your heart is beating. Otherwise, a straight line is a sign that that if you're in that comfort zone, and a straight line on the monitor is a sign of death. So before you're buried, you're dead. So you will get buried someday, but you might die much earlier than you get buried. So the question that I ask everybody: Are you when you wake up in the morning? I ask myself this question. Forget anybody else. I say, when I wake up, the only question I ask myself is, how do I feel today? If there is not joy in my getting up in the morning and trying to get up, and the second question I ask is, how can I make a difference in the world today? So I ask these two questions when I get up in the morning, and this is the thing that keeps me driving all the time. And I think that's what. So if you look at me, this is one part of my story. Somebody who loved to tell stories, somebody who got in the corporate world, worked for brands, for companies, I've seen the agency side, I've done all that, the corporate side. And then at the age of 50, I just took a switch and turned completely to discovering and living my own life at my own terms, and removing the word retire from my dictionary. I think this was my one turning point in my life, to answer your question. Yeah.
So beautiful. I think you lived up to the word of storyteller, right? I had goosebumps as I heard your story, and it was so powerful. And the first thing that probably struck me was how you said that the fact that you were feeling comfortable was what prompted you to change tracks when you were 50, right? And I want to just delve a little deeper on that, because usually that comfort is what we're seeking for, right? That security, that assurance that yes, everything is going on track and things are predictable, dependable, reliable. Most of us in a society, we are raised to value all of those things, right? And you had all of those things when you were 50 and leading a comfortable life, but that prompted a change in you. So what was missing? What really triggered that? Even in that comfort, you felt something was not right.
I think I just mentioned that is that it's when you wake up in the morning and you don't feel that joy. It's that, I don't think so. Even a day of being alive without joy is, you've got all these very false concepts. It's a false narrative that's told. I mean, this is what I figured out with time. Perhaps it happens with time that you figure this out. Some people figure it out early, some people take time, and some people never figure this out. That there is nothing called, safety. I mean, this word safe, if life itself is unsafe, I mean, how can you expect certainty when your life is uncertain? I mean, that's a false narrative that we hold, that there is something called certainty in life. And life is going to be a flux. It is going to be challenges. It is going to keep on changing. Now, people are losing their jobs. So they say jobs are safe. I say, okay, look around. Where do you think is the jobs are safe? So, I mean, there is no such thing like safety when you're alive. What is really true is, what I figured out is, life is a story, and you are the storyteller of your own life. You can make it the most adventurous story that you tell, or you can make it the most boring film that you have ever created. It's your choice. Like what you are doing right now is not many people will get out and start doing what you are doing, but you are actually enjoying in the process of expressing yourself. You are expressing. I think people need to just express themselves. We're so bogged down by the expectations of others and what will others think, and that we want to compete with the neighbor, and that we want to show off to others, that we create our own kind of this is not okay kind of thing. And advertising is doing us big disservice. And now I come from a marketing background, and from this I think that advertising starts telling us you're not okay. You're not okay the way you are. You're fat, you're thin, you're this, you're that, and you need to change. And you're bald, so you need to do a hair transplant. And you're gray, so you need to color your hair black. And you need to look like. It's all these things which are saying constantly to you are not okay. But I think the first thing that we need to do is to say that I love myself the way I am, and this is who I am. Take me as I am. If you don't want to take me the way I am, it's okay. It's your. I'm not living for you. This is my life. So I think when I figured that piece out, that somewhere it struck me that, how much of falsehood we have created in our own lives, of creating, and we think that we are living our life, but we're actually not. We are living what the society expects us. First, our parents, teachers, then our bosses, then what everybody else is. I mean, where is that the child in you that was expressive, that didn't care? You danced when you wanted to, you sang when you wanted to, you jumped in the rains when you wanted to. You could just do what you wanted to. I mean, you lived your life. And then we say, somewhere down the line, we have lost this whole ability to dream and to actually live our life on our own terms. So I think that comes to you when you start getting up in the morning. If you ask me specifically, you will start feeling it inside you. You don't want to get out there, but you are going there because you got a paycheck. Now you are in a bond. People take home loans. I tell people, think before you take your home loans. Because once you're out there and once you have to pay your EMIs,
You're stuck.
You are now stuck for the next 20 years or 30 years. You have to pay that EMI no matter what.
So you have to get that paycheck.
You have to work for a paycheck. Then you're not working for what you love to do. You're starting to do, and there's nothing wrong. I don't tell people you don't buy a house, but that's not the priority. Priority is to find yourself and to live from that place where you want to get up in the morning and get out, and it doesn't look like work or what you're doing. It looks like something you love to do. So you just enjoy. Like if you had to do a podcast and you said, okay, come 9 p.m. in the night or 10 p.m. in the night or a Saturday evening, you'd be in joy that if there's a person on the other side who could give you a good story, you would say, okay, great. I mean, I'm okay. Absolutely. I think that's what we need from life. I mean, why the hell do you want to live a life which is tied to, things which are not you? I mean, I just sometimes want to shake up people, literally. Maybe it's taken me time to get it, but now that I've got it, I want to tell as many people that, just go out there and live, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Finally, you're going to die. Be certain of that. If that's certain, then what's worse that can happen to you?
Correct. Yeah, I think my journey also was partly started in the corporate, right? And the question that triggered my journey in terms of moving towards creating Being Miraculous also was when I started asking myself every day in the morning, is this it? Is this really it? Am I really going to just keep doing this for the rest of my life at 25? And something clicked saying that, no, maybe not. And, a lot of what we do in Being Miraculous is also exactly what you're saying, right? How can you make every day extraordinary, right? How can you make the ordinary extraordinary? Not just like live that life after that retirement or live that life after you've achieved XYZ in terms of wealth, fame, power, whatever is the society's definition. And there's this interesting thing that I read where they say that, society was essentially formed to ensure survival of the gene, right? Survival of the species. So they are wired for survival, right? And if we really want to thrive, then probably sticking to the norms of society won't really help us. It can help us survive because we will, live long enough, reproduce enough, live secure enough, be safe. But where is the life in that, right?
Yeah, and the end of it, you still die. So, I mean, I tell everybody that being as safe as you want, you cannot be safe because that's it. So life should not, like in that movie, there is that, there's Rajesh Khanna, there's one movie, life is not about long. It is how you live your life.
Yeah.
It's the depth of life that matters. Are you alive? I mean, you're living and breathing doesn't mean you're alive. You're breathing.
Yeah.
Is your heart beating, and are you listening to your heart?
Right.
Because your heart is there, it's beating, it's telling you something, and you've learned or absolute ways to disguise that or put it behind what we call is thank God it is Friday. So the weekends become we start living on weekends. We start living for the vacation. So then next vacation, when is the next vacation? When is the weekend? Fridays, everybody's happy in the afternoon. What happens to people, all the other times? What happens to them all the other time? I mean, why not be happy every day? Why does you have to work? Why can't you say, thank God it's Monday? And there's a statistics I read somewhere is that the maximum heart attacks happen on Monday mornings, early mornings.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any coincidence or whatever, but we also know from all the studies, the HR studies that I've done, people studies that have been done, that 70% of the people are not happy at the places that they work in. So if that's the data that's telling you that, why the hell are you working? I mean, what are you trying to do? And then if you're going to wait till you retire, and I've seen people, they're absolutely okay with that, and it's okay. Some people wanted to live that. At least I figured out that that's not the kind of life that I wanted to live, and that's why I took up what I did, and I did some crazy stuff. But that's it. I mean, I have actually. There's another thing which I say is die empty, which means that whatever you've got, just do it. Including, for example, I wanted to sleep next to a waterfall under the open sky in the rains, and I did that. So I actually went and camped outside a waterfall in the rains, heavy monsoons, and I said, "Oh, this is life. I want to experience this. I wanted to see the planets." So I bought myself a very expensive telescope to have just take a glimpse of all the planets. So make your bucket list, as I call, whatever you want to do, and then be ready to die empty anytime. So you do whatever, just take it and just live. And so it might sound like a reckless life that but it's not reckless life. It's not reckless. It is actually being alive. If you look at nature, just go in nature. The nature is designed to be alive. It's aligned to be what itself. But a tree that is short doesn't want to become somebody else. But here, everybody's trying to be like somebody else. We're always trying to look at what that person has achieved, and if that person has achieved more, like everybody wants a unicorn. You cannot. How many percent of people? So this Shark Tank starts and everybody starts thinking, okay, it's about making those millions. But what about that one freelancer sitting in one point of the place? She's earning enough to put money and food on the table, and she's happy doing what she is, and she's running a profitable, independent, one-person business. What about such people? There are thousands of them. Not everybody is designed to become a unicorn. Not everybody is designed to raise millions. There are so many small businesses all over who are actually profitable, doing what they love, and feeding their families. I think that's what we need to celebrate. I think we're celebrating the wrong things.
Yeah, but what you said, right, that the peer pressure is real, right? So when
Absolutely.
I moved out of the corporate at 25 also, right, I was looked down as saying that, I'm just leaving money on the table, and, you're going to come back to your senses in 2 years, you'll travel for 2 years, you'll come back and you'll find your way back here. And there's a lot of peer pressure in terms of, though your reasons as to why you're making the decision, there's always that comparative pressure. And I think in today's generation, it's much more, right? You have social media, LinkedIn updates coming in every 2 seconds about promotions and pay cuts, and all your unicorns and press releases coming in. How would you tell listeners who are probably in that stage where they're deciding, they've not yet made that leap, or that they know what, probably in their heart, what they should do? What would your advice be in terms of managing this opposition or this naysayers, or just the pressure to align to society's standards?
So, what I would say is everybody has to discover their own life, and everybody has their own journey. Like I took my time to journey where I figured it out at the age of 50. It took me, it's not that the early part of my life, I did not really do what I loved. I always was in marketing, but I became so absolutely, crazy at one point of time that I got into a comfort zone kind of, feeling. You got in very early. At whatever your age is, you have decided, that you need to follow your dreams. My son, he started with the dream. He didn't do what his friends wanted to do. He wanted to become a fashion photographer. And uh, so he had no experience of being a fashion photographer. He had no training to be a fashion photographer, but he loved photography. First 2 years, this guy puts in money from his pocket to learn. I mean, he would book studios himself. He would he would get the models and do what is called as collaboration shoots. And he would work for people free of cost. So first 2 years, I saw him struggle with literally doing absolutely, but he was loving what he was doing. And then came in the opportunity, for example, to do a wedding shoot. I'm telling you because it's a real example, not theory. And something that I've seen, I've learned from my son. And he was 21, I think so. And so somebody, fashion came in wedding shoots. There was big money in wedding shoots. He did try, but he absolutely did not love it. And he very quickly decided, this is not for me. This is not what I want to do in life. And even if it was paying him money, he said, I don't want to do this. And I used to ask him, why don't you do it? You start a different business line. He said, no, Dad, you don't understand. What I want to do in life, I'm absolutely clear. I want to do this. This is what I love to do. And it took him time, but now he's worked with some of the best celebrities. He's done some of the national and international models. His work has been featured in magazines. His calendar is today booked. He's 28. But it took him time. But what he did was, I think everybody has a gift that you have. I think the only reason why we exist is to express that gift into the world. That's the only reason why a tree is there out there, to express itself, what it has got inside, to put it outside in the world. And this, my son understood that. This is his expression. He starts when he does his shoots, sometimes early in the morning. He comes back late in the nights. And the point is, he enjoys that day. He enjoys the day when he's shooting. It doesn't matter to him whether it's a Saturday or a Sunday or, where he's called. He can actually get up, pack his bag, and because they just love to do what he's doing. But one thing he's decided, that he will be so good at what he does, that his whole thing is that this is my art. This is my art. I need to make it so good that he never compromises. That was his differentiator, that got him that word of mouth, that got him people. So I tell people, see, if you are loving what you do, you have found your expression of what really makes you come alive. That's your gift. And if you get too good at your gift and you are in that giving mode, like the first 2-3 years, he was absolutely, learning mode. He was learning, and he didn't go through a formal school to learn this. The point is, if you are like this is the kind of thing you're doing, there is no way that, that whatever has to come to you will come to you. There is no way. Absolutely, take it from me. But if you're going to be in the survival mode, you will be hit and hit and hit again. Because you're not expressing yourself. If you're not expressing yourself, you cannot, be absolutely great at what you're doing. Your expression will come from what you love. I am I'm a storyteller. I love to tell brand stories. I love to tell people stories. I love to tell stories. I mean, this has been something which I love to do always. And so I say, tell people it's very simple. Find out what makes you come alive and be so damn good at it to give to the world, and don't make it transactional. The other problem that we have is we make it transactional. कि इसमें से business कितना आएगा, इसमें से पैसा कितना आएगा, इसमें से, we are already getting into the transaction thinking. But if my son wanted to, he was expressive and his work was his piece of art, The world saw it, they saw the value in it, and the people were then willing to pay him for it. And his art spread by word of mouth. He did no marketing. He just put it out on Instagram. He just put out the work that he did, and people started following him, and stride grew. So this is as simple as this. It's a law of nature. Each one of us has a unique gift. It's given. Look at it, whatever that gift is. And how do you find that out? Keep on doing different things. Try out. Figure out. Don't become so stuck. Everybody is doing this, I will do this. Try it out. Your initial years of your life are the best times when you have the support of your parents. Try it out at that time. Try out, dabble your hands in different things. Don't play safe. Don't get into safety of a job and say that's the time when you want to try and express and learn and pick up, and you will find something that makes you come alive. And once you know that, become so good at it, because that's something which you're giving like a gift into the world. And that expression is stand out, be different, and just put your art out of the world. You should be missed the day you are not there. I think the whole thing is about not getting missed, in the world. So I saw this, this guy who was, one day I saw this cop who was dancing in Pune. I saw him. He was dancing at the signal. And this guy, and nobody needs to dance in the signal. I mean, nobody's given him that as a KRA. He was dancing, and, you must have seen such YouTube videos of such people. And the question I asked, what the hell, why is he doing this? This is not his KRA. Nobody's told him to do this. But this guy is absolutely, in the morning, he's full of energy and he's doing all these moves, and everybody is so happy. He makes every motorist absolutely happy in the morning. The day he is not there at the signal, he will be missed by the motorists who are going on that road. There is this sweeper I met again while in the morning walk. And he would just turn around and very genuinely tell you, he tells, good morning, and he doesn't know me. It's not that he's from my building. I had gone to some other city and this guy was sweeping. So it's not about what job you are doing. Are you so alive and so, bringing yourself out and in love with what you're doing that you're expressing yourself? He will be missed. That's not his KRA. It's not defined. You're supposed to tell good morning to people who are walking on the street. They're not going to pay you.
Right.
But he does that. I think these are the gifts that you have, and become expressive. Take it into the world. Yeah. Why the hell do you live otherwise? I mean, if there's not joy in your day, and if you don't bring joy into the world in some way or the other.
Right. Right. So powerful, right? So figure out what makes you come alive. Give your heart and soul into it, into finding that expression, and don't make it transactional.
Absolutely.
And it will come to you.
It will come back. Take it from me. I mean, I tell anybody that challenge me on this one. I have learned it has come back. From my life, I figured it out that it does come back.
Yeah.
So it will 100% if you're expressing yourself in the right way. And that's your expression. And in this whole process, don't look at others. I mean, don't look at somebody else and say, uske paas itna hai, mere. It doesn't matter, yaar. I mean, just enjoy. You're enjoying your life. It's not about the money in the bank, yeah. Yeah, okay, you need money to survive. I need money to do business. But money is an expression of your giving into the world. People will pay you for what you give.
Right.
And not for what is available.
Yeah, I think in this world of social media, wearing those blinders and walking is even more critical, right? Like just have those blinkers on and just keep walking your path.
Yeah. You keep your blinkers on, but observe the things are changing also. So the other thing that you need to do is be flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Flexible to the extent that not that you give up your dreams on your to survive kind of thing. I'm not talking of that flexible. But things are changing in the world. The way we work is changing in the world.
Yeah.
Today people are more open to, let people work from anywhere in the world post the COVID, because that trust factor has come. And that's why that entire freelance economy, or what you call as a one-person business, has taken off. People like podcasters, YouTubers, content creators, people who can contribute different things into the world. They are finding their expression, and social is providing that. And this is going to keep on changing. Different things are going to emerge. So also keep on observing what is going on and then learning from your observation. Never learning should never stop. I spend a lot of time learning even today. I have never stopped learning. I mean, I don't say that, I know everything. Still a learner. I still am a student who's trying to figure out things every day. So I every day morning, I'm open to learn in the morning. So I'm always learning. So that's another thing that you need to do. Always keep on learning.
Right. Right. So keep on your path, but be adaptable and flexible to how the world is changing as well around you.
And never stop learning. Never stop. That's a process. It's an ongoing thing. It's again beaten down. Everybody knows this. Yeah, hey. But today it's so easy to learn, right? You don't have to learn from doing a course and all that, but you can learn from so many sources of today. So much options are there for you to learn. But keep yourself absolutely, and that's one of the other story. I don't know whether I should be sharing that story, is about my health transformation.
Yeah. I was just going to come to that. Yeah.
So let me get to that another story, which is one where I actually transformed. So from being fat, from being sick, from being somebody who was obese, um, and it's not about obesity. It's not about being fat. I don't think so. But actually being unhealthy. That's what I would say. Somebody who discovered that first time I discovered diabetes was more than 10 years back. That I mean, suddenly I do a report and I knew that something can go wrong because I was absolutely overweight. And I discovered I have diabetes, and then I was overweight and I had huge amount of multiple health issues coming up in my life, and I was in my 40s. And one day I decided this cannot continue and I want to take charge of my life. So what did I do was simply do a lot of research, because I said, this is not something that I want to solve with medicines. I don't want to get hooked on to medicines for life and get into going to and visiting doctors, because I need to take charge of my own health. Nobody else is responsible for your health. You are responsible for your own health. And, if there are lifestyle diseases that we talk about, people are catching lifestyle disease at very early age today. I mean, you land up with all the lifestyles because your lifestyle has gone wrong. The stresses are happening, right? Every day we are running under stress. It's the first thing which is wrong. Then we are eating junk, which is again the second thing which is going wrong. Your body can tolerate till a particular time, and after that, and let me warn people who are watching this, who are in the 25s and 30s, and who say that, oh, not for me, this is something which I'll get when I will get there. It's not that. People are getting it much early today, and body will tolerate till a particular point of time, but it will break down at a particular point of time. And if you are in that space when it becomes that late, money is not going to help you. You cannot do anything in life if you don't have health, right? You cannot even sit and do a podcast, or you can't run a business, or you can't express yourself if you are sick. So you need to take care of the second piece that I tell people is take charge of your health. Don't outsource your health. And it is very doable. It's very doable. As you're looking at your career and life, an important part of what matters is your health. So why not also see what really matters? We have absolutely nobody's teaching us that. Nobody is teaching us those skills that are really matter in life: relationships, health, your own passions, living your own life, the passions that you have inside of you. Nobody is talking about all that. You're learning all the stuff which is absolutely, and then you go and mess up your life, and then you land up with doctors and you land up with medicines. I also did that. And then from there, I took charge of it. And for 10 years, over 10 years, I put my diabetes under remission. Then again, I had a stressful event in life. Again, I saw the diabetes come back about 1 year back. Again, I had become obese because of absolutely neglecting my health. And I took charge again. And this time, in the last 5 months, I lost 17 kgs of weight. That's one part of it, but it's not about weight loss. It is about the fact that I also was able to reverse my diabetes. I was also able to, find a lot of energy and come back absolutely very energized. So I could see that, I did my own research. I did my own study. And then I followed this path. I create a system and a process. So I figured out something about health that I want to tell people. It is not about willpower. If people think it is about diet and all that and about willpower and how willpower can I avoid this thing, it's not about willpower. It's about a system. It's about creating a system. So once you do your research, whatever that works for you, once you figure that out, create a system. This is my system. Morning I eat this, afternoon I eat this, evening I eat this. I actually created a system which was absolutely day in and day out, every day doing the same thing. It's like going to the gym. The first day you go, you don't see any change. You go and pick up weights, you don't find any change. Second day you go, you don't find any change. Third day, nothing. 3 days, nothing. 1 week, nothing. 2 weeks, nothing. 1 month, something starts showing up. And maybe 2 months down the line, you start feeling something. And then the body starts taking shape. Change is happening. But that small change every day that you did was not telling you anything. So every day, that process that you have created needs to be lived every day. So first thing that I figured out on this wellness journey is, it's not about willpower, it is about a system. Create that system that you can sustain. Second thing I figured out was, don't take up some targets which are absolutely unachievable. The moment you take up, I want to lose, if I had started with, I want to lose 25 kgs, for example, and the first week I found there was no movement on my weighing scale, I would give up. So I didn't start with that. I didn't have those kind of, if I had started cycling and said I want to do 50 kilometers, I didn't start with 50 kilometers. I started with 3 kilometers. I started with a very basic cycle. And then I did from 3 to 10, 10 to 15, 10 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 100. It went on like that. So don't take up goals, something which are impossible. Second. Third is, don't look at, like what I told in life, don't compare yourself with anybody else. My body is my body, right? I can't compare myself to a Milind Soman, right? Might be we are both the same ages, but Milind Soman's fitness and my fitness is different, right? I can't be comparing myself to him and start looking at him, my God, I cannot do so many push-ups like he can do. And then I start feeling down and then I say, I give up, I can't do it. So don't compare it with anybody else. You might break your body by trying to compare and trying to do something, super kind of thing. The fourth thing is, make it fun. Wellness cannot be boring, right? Though I said there's a process and every day I eat, but when I cycle, for example, I cycle in style. If you go and check my Instagram and my pictures, this was a thing which was told to me by one of my coaches who said, boss, if you're getting in cycling, now if you want to really enjoy it, do it in style. So get the best, helmets, the gloves, the cycling gear and the glasses, and you dress up when you get out. So you want to get out in the morning. I want to get out in, so you feel like doing it because you're doing it in style. And the another thing that I actually got was that, invest in your health, invest. So I've invested in my health, and that investment includes a very good cycle. I mean, I started with a basic cycle, but when I really got enjoying cycling, I really invested. We spend on mobile phones. Why can't we spend on our health? So why can't I invest in a cycle? This again was told to me by a coach that, if you're investing in a mobile phone, what stops you from investing in your health? So invest in your health. It's important because that's going to take you far. So this was the basics. Then I used other two things which were important for me, which was the mindset, as I call it. And the mindset part, I use technology a lot in my transformation journey. So I've used tech as a very important part of my health and wellness journey. So what do I mean by using technology? Because technology tells you how you are moving, what is actually happening. Today, for example, I have a CGM installed out here. You can see it out here, right? It's my CGM. It's telling me my blood glucose movements. And I have got an app on this. I use the Ultra Human app. I've written about this in my LinkedIn post about the different techs that I use. I actually start measuring. It's measuring and telling me 24/7 how my blood glucose is moving. It's giving me information that I can use. And it tells me this food works for me, this food doesn't work. Though it's a protocol is there, I need to now personalize myself, my journey of wellness. So I have my gardening. It's telling me my sleep time. It's telling me my heart rate. It's telling me all that. I pull it into my app. So I've created a support structure with the use of tech. which tells me how my body is reacting. So if my stress levels go up, I can actually see, is it impacting my heart rate? Is it impacting my sleep? Is it impacting my blood glucose? And once I know all this, I know what I'm supposed to do. So I think this is the important part. And the other thing that people need to get on the wellness journey is body is not parts. We think that, these are parts, heart is a different part. This is a different, body is one, it's not parts. It is, if one part heals, the whole heals. If you take out junk from your life and lifestyle, it's going to heal your whole body. The second piece that you need to get is your mind and body is not different. If your mind is stressed, your body is going to undergo stress no matter what. So if you have to be on this wellness journey, your mind and body needs to be synced. You need to have this both under. So your meditation becomes, for me, it's an important part of how I start my journey. My gratitude journal is important for me. My meditation is important for me. My morning reflection practice that I do every day is an important part of this journey because this is integrated. It's not different. So these are various things, and I've also then started sharing this with people, and people have really liked what I've shared because I share very honestly and I share very freely with everybody what you can do and how you can transform your wellness journey on my YouTube channel. So people go and check it out there. I put out everything that I do in my day, and I don't say that everybody needs to follow what I do, but I tell everyone simply that wellness is a choice. It is something that you have to take responsibility for. Don't wait for, outsource it to somebody else. Nobody else is bothered about your health. You cannot outsource your health. And I also tell people that graceful aging is a right. You need to age gracefully. So these are few things that this was my wellness journey. Now in the wellness journey, I'm spreading this message to as many people as I can that, you have a choice to live a healthy and a very absolutely vibrant life.
Yeah, so beautiful. And I think the two things I'm taking away is that one, you cannot outsource your wellness, and two, you can make it fun, right? I think we take it so seriously, especially the whole thought of diet and nutrition. I mean, you're like, weighing your grams and everything like that, and we take it so seriously that it's no fun at all, like.
Make it fun. I'll tell you what, one more thing that happens. The other day, yesterday, just 2 days back, I went to I went out to eat, and then I had a South Indian meal, an authentic South Indian meal at this restaurant, and which was also having that white rice, which actually on the health side, friends, you said you don't have it.
Correct.
But I had it, and I had it with absolute joy. And I came back and I didn't have any guilt trips.
Yeah.
Because I'm running a marathon. I'm not doing a sprint. This is for life, right? If I sometimes go off syllabus, it doesn't mean that I get off my track. I can come back on track. The problem with people happens is that they get into guilt trips about, I've eaten this, now what the hell? And then after some time, they tell themselves that, I can't do this.
Yeah, and guilt and shame take a bigger toll on your psyche.
Absolutely. And so that is not so. You need to actually look at it that this is a marathon and not a sprint. It is not about a few days, not about a few weeks. This is the way you're going to live your life.
Yeah.
You're going to live your life healthy. That means it's very simple, right? Clean eating is simple and logical. Clean eating. That's it. I mean, keep that much in mind. I'm going to do clean eating.
Yeah.
And sometimes I will skip. Sometimes I go out, I'll party. Sometimes, some things will happen. That's okay. You're not going to make it like, what the hell, the world has fallen down, and then you give up.
Correct.
2 days the weighing scale doesn't move, people start giving up. They say, weighing scale mein kuch farak nahi pad raha hai. As I said, this is your lifetime. And let me tell you, your body is going to appreciate and do what it needs. Your body is the most miraculous healing machine. Yeah. It will rework and repair and do what it needs to do if you sustain this thinking that, it is possible. It can do miracles. But have that belief that it will work, and don't treat it like a sprint. It's a marathon.
Right. And that's a powerful message, right? Because I think as a generation today, we, seek instant gratification, right? 10-minute deliveries, 30-minute turnarounds, and, likes and feedback immediately. Everything we seek is immediate, right? So that expectation to actually run that marathon is not at all there, right? It's always sprints, like,
Yeah,
how.
absolutely. So let me tell you another story, which is about on my LinkedIn journey.
Mhm.
LinkedIn now, I started last year, when I started writing on LinkedIn. I had 3,000 people following, and it's not about numbers I'm talking about, but I'm just trying to talk about the philosophy.
Yeah.
I kept on writing every day, and I fell in love with writing because I'm a storyteller anyway. So I love to write. I love to, write. I never fancied myself that I was a great writer or something, but and it clicked with people. People would pick up things because I was sharing from the heart, and I was absolutely transparent with what I was sharing, and people started liking it. And today I have 20,000 people who, actually almost 20,000. I'll just be reaching it in a day or so. I should cross that 20,000 number. The point is, I was writing every day, and I was not bothering about whether it was getting likes or whether it was not getting likes or anything. I was just writing as an expression of giving, as something that I love to do. And whenever I write, I figured out, it forced me to learn about things. Like when I tell a story, the story changes me first before it does anything in the world. Because when I talk to a person and I pick up a story, it changes me first. So I have learned so much from stories. So I think it became this everything, whether it's health or whether it is, if I have to do this 60 push-ups every day, it's simple. I started with 10 push-ups and I did it every day and every day and every day and every day. Then I went to 20 push-ups. I did every day, every day. It's as, I keep on doing it. If I have to write, till it becomes so much a part of me that today I don't have to think about writing. It takes me, it's natural for me to now today sit and write.
Yeah.
Morning. And people ask me, where do you get the time? And you're running a business and you're doing this and you're writing. Do you get the time for doing this? I said, I don't even think like that. I do what I love to do. I love to do this, so I'm doing it. So it applies everywhere that, you need to have this thinking of a marathon. Don't think about your life as a sprint. It's good, it's 3 days or 10 days, whether it's a health, whether it's a business, whether it is your career or whether it is whatever you're doing, think of it as a marathon.
Yeah.
I help you. These are coming from my own experiences.
Right. The other day I read this line somewhere saying, think in decades, not in days, right? And we're so used to immediate things that if we actually look at it from a little bit of a perspective of thinking of a decade, suddenly that urgency is different, right? You want to consistently show up every single day. And it's not about whether, you're able to do, 75 minutes of running. It's about, can you do 10 minutes of running, but do it every single day, right?
Absolutely. It's the consistency that matters in everything. Wellness, I've absolutely figured it out. And I can challenge anybody who tells me that this doesn't work. But one day I'll go and do a lot of gymming and then I'll, the whole week it's not going to be like that. It's always going to be do the small stuff, keep on doing it consistently.
Yeah.
And it works finally. It works. You create a system. Willpower will never work. I'll tell you that. I'll challenge anybody who tells me willpower works. It is not willpower. It's a system that you create. This is the system. The system is what is going to work, whether it is your wellness, whether it's your business, whether it's your career. You need to create some things that you will do daily, and daily. You just keep on doing it. That's what the best of the sports people do. They practice every day, before they play the game. So I think it applies to life. It applies to anything that you do.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you so much. I think I've learned so much from this conversation. Are you ready for the rapid fire?
Go ahead. Let me see if I can answer. I will answer.
Right. So no thinking, whatever comes to your mind first, right? Morning person or night person?
I am a morning person.
Okay. Books, podcasts, or movies?
Books, any day.
Okay. Top 3 books that changed your life?
The Art of Possibility, The Greatest Salesman in the World, and The 4 Agreements.
Don Miguel Ruiz. Okay. All right. And if you had to say non-negotiables in your routine, how many ever they are? What are things that you just cannot miss?
So what I cannot miss is my morning meditation. It's a part of me. I just cannot miss it. I cannot miss my weekend cycling. That's something that I just have to get out and do it. And the third thing is, writing or storytelling. Three things. So storytelling is something which I just enjoy. I mean, it's something which is an expression that I have to put out in the world, whether it's for brands, for people, for my clients, for whatever. So storytelling is the third thing for me. Yeah.
Powerful. Okay. One lesson you wish you knew when you were younger.
The one lesson that I did, that everything is a lie.
Everything is a lie?
Yeah, I mean, all that you have been told is a lie. That this is the way life is supposed to be lived is a lie, which we have been told. So I think that's something which I had, if I had known earlier, it would have been much more. You don't go that the whole rat race and then figure it out. That you need to have money in the bank, you need to have this, you need to have that, and you need to. The definition of success.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it is. So all the myths, I think so. So this is a whole narrative that's absolutely that I think is that told this is the way to live.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, if you really ask me, the core of that is you're not okay. It's the greatest lie ever told.
Yeah.
You're okay the way you are. Absolutely. So you can actually, joyfully, get better at what you're, but you're absolutely okay. There's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
It's advertising that's told you that lie that, something wrong with you.
Right. Beautiful. Role models or people who inspire you. What qualities do you admire in them?
So the qualities that I really, look at people, and these are actual people that one was my own mentor in life, and somebody who I looked up to. He's no more, but he was my boss also for the longest period of time. Sudhakar Ram, who was the co-founder of Mastech, and who was also my co-founder and partner in the startup that we did together. So the quality that, the most beautiful quality he had is, he would say, how wonderful to everything. Even when he was detected with cancer and he knew that he's not going to live, he never had regrets. He said, how wonderful. I mean, that's something. Once I remember that somebody had threatened us when we were doing our startup, and as a protection, we had to go to the police station because this guy was threatening us for something. And we've never seen a police station. None of us, we've never gone inside a police station and had a look at it. We went inside, and so at the end of it, he told me, Sanjay, how wonderful. This happened so we could see the police station. So he lost his passport in the US, and he lost his bag. And he said, how wonderful. Because everything that was happening, he would have this line. And he actually genuinely, in his death also, because that's the true nature of a man is revealed when absolutely in that space of, very close to your death. He never had a regret. I could never sense anything that he had a regret. And I think that how wonderful was the quality that I think that Sudhakar leaves for me to aspire to have that absolute acceptance of moments in life as it is unfolding. Some things go as per your plans, some things don't go as per your plans. Some things you can control, some things are absolutely out of your control. To live in that space of how wonderful of whatever is actually showing up is the first thing. So the second thing is not a leader or somebody big. This is a story that I've shared today in my LinkedIn. It's about Mr. Keki, the Parsi gentleman that I meet in Starbucks after I cycle. He shared two big insights with me about life, and whichever absolutely they were actually the moment he's shared those with me, this what is due to you, he said first thing, he's lived 92 years old guy who comes for a cup of coffee on his own into the Starbucks. It's crazy. Why the hell why do you come at 92? And he's absolutely, healthy, though he He's old, but he's absolutely healthy. He doesn't take medicines. I asked him. So he told me two things. He said, one is, what is due to you will come to you. What is not due to you, it's not meant for you. And we get so stressed with all this thing. Ye kyun nahi hua?
Yeah.
He's taught me this thing of, from him, from his wisdom, I could pick up this absolute beautiful thing which said that, this takes away so much of a struggle. Now we are constantly struggling. "Arey, kyun nahi mila mere ko? Why didn't I? This should have happened. This could have happened in my life." It's not meant for you. It's okay. Let it go.
Yeah.
And just this weekend, this Sunday, he told me on the line, which he says, "Sochne ka nahi." I asked him, "What is it that your secret kya hai? Tumhara 92 years, tum kaisa aisa matlab itna joyfully abhi bhi tum you coming to have your coffee." He said, "Sochne ka nahi," in Hindi, which means don't think too much.
Yeah.
Basically, he doesn't. So his thing was that, we make so many narratives around what happens. Somebody says something, we have our narrative above that.
Yeah.
And we think so much and we overthink so much that either we don't do it, we don't do whatever we are. If I had overthinking, I would have never created this story, Rose.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be sitting here and podcasting. Somewhere you just
stuck in your head. Yeah.
You need to just take that out because it creates so much of stress now. Sochne ka, and we get so stressed with our stories. And so these are beautiful 3 insights that I've got from these. There are many more people who have given me, like Ashank has given me the insight. Ashank Desai, the co-founder of Mastec again, the co-founder of NASCOM, who's a very good friend and somebody who I've worked with very closely. He's given me the insight of that, he came from a tribal school.
Mm-hmm.
He became what he has become. I mean, the initial part of his life was in the village, absolute poverty, and no possibility of him doing an IIT and IIM and then creating an IT company as big as Mastec and then taking it, making it a global company. There was absolutely no possibility. And he was here in this room about 1 week back, 2 weeks back, I think. And we had a conversation. And his life has told me, and I got from him is that if you can dream as big as you want, if you put in that and go for that vision, go for it. I mean, otherwise, just imagine somebody who's in a village to go and create something as big as this, what he created, needs that kind of grand vision and the belief in that you can go and create something like this, And the last one that I want to leave with, that you said 2-3 people, and I want to leave you this people is because the important one is Adik Kadam. Who again is somebody I've worked with a lot of non-profit leaders, organization leaders, and Adik Kadam stands out amongst the many. He's been kidnapped by terrorists almost 18 times in Kashmir. He started an orphanage for girl children who are impacted by violence, conflicts in Kashmir, taking care of almost 300 girl children out there. The only Hindu in that entire Kupwara area, and the very height of terrorism. I mean, when terrorism was very high, because he had been there as a student on a social visit, and then he saw this impact of this. He said, women were getting impacted by all this. This guy goes and creates orphanage, one of the girls actually, when I wrote the story, she said, "Don't call it orphanage. We don't like it. So call it, place. I don't remember exactly, but something like a place that we live." It's not orphanage for us, it is our home or something. So I actually say he's created a home, and he's been kidnapped by terrorists out there, and one guy once the gun has been put on his head. And so I asked Adik, aren't you scared about going there again and again? You are the only guy who goes there and you get picked up by these guys, and your life is always under threat. And this guy has absolutely no fear. Absolutely no fear. He's willing to die. So I asked him this question. He said, these children are my children. And I live for them. So I'm not afraid of death. I'm already dead. And he said this statement. That time it didn't strike me. What does he mean by I'm already dead? He had killed himself as a person absolutely for his purpose. So he was dead. His purpose was so big. So find a purpose so big that you're willing to die for it. That was something which I got from Adik. And from all the non-profit founders that I have worked with, I think I get from them. So I'm always in that search of, I'm always looking at that purpose will become so big, because then there's no fear.
Yeah.
You have transcended the fear of even death. So find a purpose, if you can, in your life so big that even death will not scare you. So I think these are the few things that I picked up from people. There are many, if you sit with me, there's so many things that I picked up, and I keep on sharing them on my LinkedIn, but some of them that I've shared with you.
So powerful. Thank you for that. I'm going to think about all of those again, but I think I'll just ask you one last question. If there is one takeaway that you want the audience who've probably been investing the last 1 hour listening to us to take away, what will that be?
Be alive. And that's I think so. The takeaway of whatever I have shared today is that just be alive. Don't die before you die. And being alive is when you are dreaming, when you are actually, you've not given up on your dreams. One day you're going to die anyway, but till the time you're alive, be alive. Live every day absolutely as an expression of joy, absolutely as an expression of what the gift is there inside of you. And sing your song, whatever that song is. So coming back to the point is being alive is the one message. Be alive. I think that's the one thing that I would want my children to remember. If I have to leave them one message, and if they watch this podcast, if I'm after I've gone, for example, the message to them would be that be alive, live your dreams. I mean, just don't, even one day that you are not living is criminal. Be alive.
So impactful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sanjay. It was such a pleasure listening to your stories. And thank you so much for taking the time out to actually share this on our platform. I'm sure many of our listeners are going to benefit out of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to be here and to speak and to spread this message that comes to me to as many people as they can. And you're doing great work. And I'm seeing you are alive doing what you're doing. So just keep that joy within you.
Yeah.
Just spread that joy to the world. And what you're doing is exactly what I'm telling people, that be alive.
Yeah. We'll do our best. Thank you so much, Sanjay.
Thank you.